A hush fell over the grand hall as Princess Anne stepped forward, her gaze steady and her voice calm, yet filled with emotion. Every eye turned to Prince William, whose composed expression began to falter as he braced himself. In that tense moment, Anne disclosed the king's final wish, a personal request that shocked the family and sent waves across the realm. William trembled, on the verge of tears, as the weight of history bore down on him. What could be powerful enough to shake a future king? Prepare yourself, what follows is nothing short of astonishing. Rare are the moments in royal history that command the attention just witnessed. To grasp its full impact, one must consider a figure who has never sought fame but quietly earned deep respect, Princess Anne. Born in 1950 to Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Anne entered a life steeped in tradition and public duty. Unlike her siblings, she never sought the limelight. From a young age, she dismissed the fairy-tale princess ideal and chose a path marked by service over spectacle. While others used royal engagements as platforms or treated them as burdens, Anne approached each one with unwavering seriousness and purpose. She wasn't there to perform for the public, she was there to fulfill her duty. Anne has maintained one of the most demanding schedules of any royal, forming lasting ties with numerous charitable organizations she continues to support without fanfare. Her legacy isn't defined by glitz but by a relentless dedication to service. Her drive went beyond palace walls. In 1976, she became the first British royal to compete in the Olympics, representing the UK in equestrian eventing in Montreal. It wasn't for show, she trained, qualified, and competed as any other athlete would. Though she didn't win a medal, she proved that real achievement comes from effort, not lineage. Throughout periods of royal turmoil, Anne has been the monarchy's constant. While scandals made headlines and public opinion swayed, she remained focused and steadfast. Her devotion to the crown never faltered, not out of ambition, but out of principle. Anne is the quiet force who always shows up, often sacrificing personal ease for public service. While others leaned into royal privileges, she embraced responsibility. Removed from palace drama, her influence has been strong but subtle. Known for her directness in private and her ability to gain trust, she has long been valued for substance over spectacle. And now, at a time when the royal family faces unprecedented strain, Anne's quiet leadership has become more essential than ever. As internal pressures rise and key decisions are made behind closed doors, Anne's role, once overlooked, can no longer be ignored. What once seemed like background support is now the stabilizing force between the crown and collapse. Anne's quiet strength has come into focus not because she sought the spotlight, but because the king himself now stands at a personal and constitutional crossroads. Charles spent decades as the longest-serving heir in British history. His journey to the throne was anything but smooth, marked by scrutiny, fractured relationships, and a constant search for meaning under the immense shadow of his mother's 70-year reign. When Queen Elizabeth II died in September 2022, the world mourned a monumental figure, and Charles assumed the throne at last. Yet the long-anticipated moment brought with it a burden no amount of planning could ease. He inherited a monarchy in flux, public trust was fragile, the Commonwealth questioned its future, and the royal family was deeply divided. Instead of stepping confidently into his new role, Charles found himself navigating grief, expectation, and the monumental task of reimagining the monarchy while honoring its roots. His proposal to slim down the royal family, aiming for modernization and cost efficiency, was immediately controversial. While the move was meant to streamline the monarchy, many feared it might dilute its presence and relevance. What Charles hoped would show clarity and purpose instead triggered confusion and concern. But this public challenge was only one piece of the struggle. In 2023, a much more personal crisis emerged. Charles was diagnosed with cancer. Though the palace kept details private, the news struck the nation like a shockwave. The king made efforts to carry on, maintaining appearances at official functions, but those close to him noticed the difference. He appeared more fragile, his movements slower, his presence more subdued. The crown, once a symbol, had become a real burden. By early 2024, Charles began to step back, first quietly, then more obviously. He increasingly relied on the most dependable figures in the royal family, Princess Anne, ever dedicated, and Prince William, his successor, Anne Catherine, who carried her role with grace. They began to handle more public duties and international visits, taking on the responsibilities Charles could no longer manage alone. It marked an unofficial, gentle shift of power, an acknowledgement that age and illness were catching up. The king's public engagements became rare, his words more measured, and his expressions more introspective. This was no longer a monarch preparing to lead a new era, this was a man facing the limits of time, the weight of legacy, and the reality of mortality. The once firm image of King Charles slowly faded into one of dependence, on duty, family, and especially on Anne. Her loyalty never wavered. She became not only the monarchy's backbone but Charles's most trusted confidant, offering stability as old traditions began to tighten their grip. Beneath this slow shift in authority was a deeply personal choice, a private wish from a king unsure if he could continue alone. Whispers at Sandringham hinted at this change. As speculation about a shift in power grew, one noticeable absence at a key royal gathering heightened the uncertainty. Then, the silence was broken, not with pomp, but with calm, deliberate purpose, by the one voice the monarchy has long trusted. Princess Anne, often seen as the monarchy's anchor, stepped forward not with spectacle but with strength. For years, she had quietly held the institution together, performing hundreds of engagements annually with exacting dedication. She never sought recognition, only the assurance that her duty was fulfilled. That unwavering commitment gave her the right to speak when others couldn't. In early 2025, a private gathering took place at Sandringham, attended by senior royals including William and Catherine. It was there that the reason behind Princess Anne's enduring role as the family's guiding presence became clear. King Charles, weakened by illness and stepping back from public life, had entrusted Anne with an important message. This message wasn't focused on his own legacy but on the monarchy's future. With the king too unwell to appear, Anne spoke in his place, her voice calm and her words deliberate. What she shared bore the weight of two reigns, a sentiment once quietly voiced by Queen Elizabeth II and later reinforced by Charles. Both monarchs had placed their hopes not only in William, the heir, but also in Catherine. They saw in her a rare kind of strength, one that didn't seek attention but thrived through quiet constancy. Years earlier, Elizabeth had admired Catherine's grace and unshakable calm in a life that often overwhelms newcomers. Charles had echoed those sentiments in recent conversations with Anne, expressing with urgency that Catherine wasn't merely a future queen consort, she was the steady presence who would one day help guide the monarchy itself. The effect on those in the room was immediate. William, caught between familial duties, public expectations, and constant scrutiny, appeared visibly moved, not from surprise, but from the deep validation those words offered. Privately, he had always found strength in Catherine, and now, that faith was echoed publicly by his father and aunt, both veterans of royal life. Anne's delivery wasn't dramatic, but the message carried undeniable weight. Catherine, always composed, always steady, had become the quiet core of a monarchy in transition. While others stumbled, she stood firm, gaining trust not through ambition but through silence, resilience, and unwavering commitment. When Anne finished, the room didn't burst into reaction, it subtly shifted. In that moment, the king's final wish became more than a message, it pointed clearly to the one who would help lead the monarchy into its next chapter. What power does Catherine now hold, and why did her quiet strength stir even William? Catherine's emergence is not simply about becoming queen consort, it's about stepping into a deeper role. As Anne's words lingered through Sandringham, focus turned not to tradition or hierarchy, but to the woman who had quietly earned her central place. Long before her royal life began, Catherine Elizabeth Middleton was born on January 9, 1982, in the countryside of Berkshire. Though her upbringing seemed unremarkable, it was rooted in strong purpose. Her parents, Michael and Carol Middleton, were not of noble blood, but they were committed to creating meaningful opportunities for their children. Through their actions, they emphasized the value of effort over appearance, patience over privilege. As the eldest of three siblings, Catherine absorbed these lessons early. Her time at Marlborough College revealed someone who stood out not because of ambition, but for her kindness and reliability. She was intelligent, but it was her ability to truly see others that left a lasting impression. her life took a significant turn at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. Amid lecture halls and quiet cafes, Catherine and Prince William formed a connection that later proved resilient under intense public scrutiny. Their bond began not with ceremony but through friendship, study, and shared moments. Where others saw a prince, Catherine saw the man behind the title. In difficult times, she offered William quiet reassurance, never pressure. By the time he proposed during a private trip to Kenya in 2010, Catherine had already become an essential part of his life. The sapphire ring once worn by Princess Diana symbolized more than history, it signified expectation. Their wedding in April 2011 at Westminster Abbey was watched by millions, but their true test began after the cameras stopped rolling. Rather than chase attention, Catherine approached her new royal role with quiet purpose. She didn't transform herself for public approval. She listened, learned, and remained anchored in the values she had always held. While others pursued media attention, she focused on meaningful causes: early childhood development, family well-being, mental health, and education. Her work wasn't designed for applause but for long-term impact. Over time, she began to quietly shape her role within the institution. Even Queen Elizabeth II, famously private and slow to offer public praise, welcomed Catherine into her inner circle. The Queen once remarked to those close to her that Catherine possessed the steadiness and presence required for royal life. Now, as King Charles steps back, Catherine stands not behind William, but beside him in every strategic sense. Beyond the formal smiles and appearances, her influence is now felt behind the scenes. Whatever titles may change, what she brings to the monarchy already runs deeper than a crown. As Catherine's influence within palace life grew, so too did a subtle yet powerful alliance, one not based on lineage but shared principles. While the public's attention focused on the king's evolving role, a quiet partnership had taken shape between Anne, the eldest daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, and Catherine, the woman seen as the monarchy's future. Though they come from different generations and circumstances, Anne and Catherine are bound by something rare in royal life: a devotion to duty grounded in purpose, not performance. For over 5 decades, Anne has been the monarchy's unshakable presence, known not for pageantry, but for her tireless work ethic and direct manner. She rarely sought the spotlight, yet her name remained synonymous with service. She endured while others faltered, asking for no praise. Her legacy doesn't rely on speeches, it's quietly built into the structure of the monarchy. Catherine's royal path began under the public gaze, yet she responded with quiet observation and thoughtful action. Rather than seek immediate prominence, she watched, listened, and cultivated a presence based on empathy and careful intent. Her focus on children, families, and mental health was not only compassionate, it was strategic, aiming to strengthen the fabric of society. Over time, her calm demeanor revealed a firm inner strength. Though their styles differ, Anne sharp and pragmatic, Catherine elegant and composed, both women understand that true leadership often works in silence. Together, they embody a form of influence that speaks not through words, but through consistency, intention, and the quiet force of character. Those close to the palace quietly confirm that the bond between Anne and Catherine has deepened significantly behind the scenes. Known for being reserved and sparing with personal compliments, Anne now holds Catherine in sincere regard, not only as her nephew's wife, but as a woman with the rare qualities needed to carry the monarchy into the future. In private, their conversations are candid. Anne shares her wisdom, built over decades of experience, while Catherine listens with a focus that reflects humility and determination. What began as simple mutual respect has evolved into something more meaningful, a shared rhythm that becomes evident during public events where their gestures subtly mirror each other. They don't rely on outward performance to show their connection. Their bond reveals itself in small moments, side glances, silent understanding, the calm authority with which they fill a room. As the royal family faces an age of transformation, rising public scrutiny, and media noise, the true strength inside the institution often goes unseen. In that quiet space, Anne and Catherine stand united. They're not loud or seeking praise, they simply hold the line. Catherine's most personal challenge began quietly, and it would test her in ways royal duties never had. While an steady presence remained a guiding force within royal circles, Catherine's path took a sudden, unexpected shift. In early 2024, usually the quiet center amidst public chaos, she stepped back from the spotlight. Initially, the palace announced a planned abdominal surgery, and many anticipated her return would be swift. But as time passed, weeks turning into months, concern grew. Events were cancelled, and Prince William began withdrawing from his own engagements. No new photos were released, and aside from sparse official updates, the silence only deepened the national unease. Then, on March 22, everything changed. Seated on a wooden bench in Windsor, Catherine addressed the public in a video. Her appearance was simple, hands in her lap, her voice steady yet emotional. She shared that she had been diagnosed with cancer and was undergoing preventative chemotherapy. It was more than a royal announcement, it was a profoundly human moment. Her familiar smile remained, but there was a new weight behind her eyes, a vulnerability she had never before revealed publicly. It was not rehearsed or polished, no royal backdrop, no ceremony. Just a mother, a wife, a woman facing a personal battle with grace that moved people around the world. The video did more than inform, it deeply resonated. Catherine's quiet strength became instantly relatable to millions enduring their own hardships. Behind the scenes, Prince William remained a rock. Having experienced the pain of losing his mother so publicly, he now took on the task of shielding his own family from similar exposure. He balanced royal responsibilities while supporting Catherine and guiding their children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, through this uncertain chapter. Even in her absence, Catherine's influence endured. Her silence sent a powerful message: a courage doesn't always come with a title. Sometimes, it wears a hospital gown and a calm, unwavering smile. Those close to Catherine say she has stayed connected to her work, especially in the areas of childhood development and mental health. Even in vulnerable moments, she's continued to find purpose. Through quiet strength and private struggle, she proved that real power often lies in what isn't loudly declared. But what makes Catherine's strength so impactful, what gives it meaning beyond her royal status, is her enduring sense of purpose. Even before she officially joined the royal family, Catherine was deeply committed to meaningful causes. In 2007, she collaborated with UNICEF to use photography in highlighting the needs of vulnerable children. A year later, she helped raise £100,000 for the Oxford Children's Hospital with a roller disco fundraiser, genuine efforts that showed her desire to help others long before her royal platform. Her path toward service was authentic from the start. When she married Prince William in 2011, her platform grew, and so did her mission. Their wedding wasn't just a celebration, it became a force for good. Instead of traditional gifts, the couple requested donations to 26 charities they cared about. Together, they created the Royal Foundation, an organization that channels their shared priorities into action, supporting conservation, military families, and mental health. But Catherine's greatest influence has always come through the causes she connects with on a personal level. She doesn't just make appearances. She returns, follows up, and forms lasting relationships. Her consistency has changed how people view royalty, making it feel more human, more engaged. She becomes a familiar face to the organizations she supports, not as a celebrity, but as a genuine advocate. Mental health has been one of her core passions. In 2016, alongside William and Harry, she helped launch the Heads Together campaign to break the stigma surrounding mental illness. It wasn't just awareness, it sparked real conversations and cultural change. Later, she introduced Mentally Healthy Schools, a pioneering initiative that equips educators with tools to support students' emotional well-being. Her work in this space has built essential connections between families and support networks, ensuring help reaches those who need it. Another cause close to her heart is early childhood development. In 2021, she established the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood, emphasizing the vital importance of the first 5 years of life. Backed by research and community input, it anchors her Shaping Us campaign launched in 2023, urging society to rethink how it nurtures future generations. When Catherine discusses childhood, she does so with conviction, as a mother, a curious learner, and a determined leader. Her compassion also extends to children facing profound challenges. Since 2012, she has served as patron of East Anglia's children's hospices, regularly participating in events during Children's Hospice Week, offering both visibility and emotional support. Her 2025 Big Questions survey drew over 500,000 responses and shed light on how early experiences shape lives, further proof that her work is both heartfelt and strategic. Catherine's dedication extends well beyond her core causes. In 2015, she became patron of the Royal Air Force Air Cadets, a role she approaches with clear pride. Her enthusiasm for sport led to the creation of Coach Corps, a program that trains young people to become professional coaches, blending fitness with purpose. Her love for the arts is expressed in her ongoing support for the National Portrait Gallery, where she celebrates creativity and community. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Catherine and William launched the Our Frontline initiative to support emergency service workers. She also lent her voice and support to international relief efforts in response to crises in Ukraine and Turkey. Across every chapter of her royal journey, Catherine has quietly built a legacy not of spectacle, but of genuine service, one grounded in care, compassion, and unwavering commitment.